All right, welcome to this first tutorial about the basics of Tinkercad. Tinkercad is an online resource that helps you create 3D printed items, and that's exactly what we're going to learn about today, is just kind of how Tinkercad works. We're going to get familiar with the interface, kind of see how everything works here, so that way we can really apply that information and learn how to create these 3D items that we would like to create. So what you can see up here in the top left corner here is this little button here. It's the logo for Tinkercad. Okay, now when you click on that logo here, it brings you to a dashboard. And what you can see here then is your librarian. Okay, this is her specific account. All right, so what you can see then also is all of these different designs that your classmates have made. Okay, there's a really a lot of variety here, so I hope you're kind of excited because you can really create something very creative in Tinkercad, and something that I think you will really enjoy. All right, so what we're going to do is, instead of looking at others and what they've created, we are actually going to create our very own design. Okay, so how you're going to do that, you're going to click on this button here that says create a new design. Okay, and it'll load here in just a second. There we go. All right, and so this is kind of like your interface here for Tinkercad. Up here in the top left, you see that little button that we saw before. That is what you can click on to get back to your dashboard, but I would like to stay in here so I can actually create something. Okay, what you've got here is your name of what this specific item is going to be. Okay, so what we can talk about is how this is the basics of Tinkercad. Okay, so that right now is kind of the title. Like I said, you can always kind of change this to whatever you like. All you have to do is just left click on it, okay, and you can change it to whatever you like. All right, so first what I'm going to start off talking about is this work plane right here. You know, this work plane is going to be where you're actually creating all of your different designs, and this is where you're going to find that specific item you'd like to 3D print. So first of all, what you can see up here in this top left corner is really just a box that tells you where you are looking when you're looking at this work plane. Okay, first I would like to talk about the left click button and the right click button, what they actually do. Okay, so the left hand button or the left click button, if you click on something, so let's just say we want to click on this box right here. Okay, so I clicked on my box and left clicked it, and let's just say I want to left click and drag and drop it here to my work plane. Okay, so now what you see is that specific item is now here on my work plane. Okay, and what I'd also like to do is maybe let's just change the color here. So it's red right now. I'd like to change it to purple since that's my favorite color. All right, there we go. So now we have our box right here. Okay, I left clicked it and I dragged it over here, and now you see that it's selected. Okay, so now if I want to deselect it, all I have to do is left click again. Okay, and then I see that my box is still here. Okay, so now you kind of know what the left click button does. Now the right click button is actually going to be very important as well. So let's right click, and if I start to drag, what you can kind of see is that that top left box is changing. Okay, and it's changing along with my work plane, so it's telling me then what I can see. Okay, so if I right click and I start dragging, I'm starting to see all of these different angles, all of these different perspectives of this specific item. Okay, so I can see the left-hand side, I can see the top, the bottom, left, right, the front, the back. Okay, so I can see all of these different perspectives of this item, and that's going to become really important once you create something that's a little bit more complex. That is really going to help you in understanding then what you're really going to have when you actually 3D print this. Okay, so that is what the left click button does. Okay, left click, you just click on something, it's going to select it. Okay, if you click away from it with a left click, it will deselect it. Now if I want to maneuver my work plane, that's when I'm going to use my right click button, okay, and kind of drag around so that way I can see all these different angles of my specific item. Okay, so that's what the left and the right click buttons do. So let's talk a little bit about what these buttons up here in the left-hand side actually do. So you see that we've got a copy, we've got paste, duplicate, delete, undo, and redo. Okay, so kind of basics. Let's just say I want to copy this item. I will left click it to select it, click the copy button. Okay, and let's just say I want to paste it. You see that my box here just pasted itself right next to my other box. Now let's just say that I'd like to drag this box a little bit over so I can create a little bit longer of a box here. Okay, so I just left clicked, dragged it a little bit, and there we are. Okay, I've got my copy of my original box. Okay, so now let's just say I wanted to duplicate something. Okay, this might be a little bit of a quicker way to do that copy and paste, so I click this duplicate button, okay, and I have actually duplicated my box, and if I drag it around, there you go, now you see that I've got like a little corner, okay, and then if I would like to delete this corner, let's just say I'd like to delete this box here, I just go back up here and click that delete button. Okay, and I can always undo something, and I can always redo something as well. So that is very, very nice. Another thing that is also important to notice is that all of your changes, when you make changes here, okay, they automatically save for you. So you don't ever have to find a save button. It will automatically do that for you. So don't be worried about anything getting deleted or lost or anything. Tinkercad will always save it automatically for you. All right, so now we've got a couple other buttons up here at the top right. So I've got this button here, it says a show all. I've got a group button, which will become very important in just a minute. I've got an ungroup button, an align button, and a flip button. Okay, so what I really want to focus on, at least in this little panel here, is this group button. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually group these two items together with each other. Now the reason I'm doing that is because when I 3D print this, right now these boxes are completely separate from each other. Okay, let's actually make these a different color so it's a little bit easier for us to see that there is a separation here. Alright, so now we got this yellow. Okay, these boxes are both yellow, and I've got these two lines here. Okay, that is kind of indicating to us right here that these are two separate boxes. Okay, so when you 3D print this, it will end up being two separate boxes. Okay, but let's just say that I wanted them to actually be connected to each other. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the left click button, I'm going to just click here, and I'm going to drag, and I'm going to select both of these boxes. Okay, so like I said, I wanted to actually group these two things together so that when they print, they end up actually printing together. So I'm going to go up here to my top right, and I'm going to click on the group item. Okay, so now what you can see, okay, yes, we've got this little separation right here, but if I right click and I drag around here, look at that. I've actually got an entire rectangle, okay, of this specific item. Okay, so I took those two boxes and I grouped them together. Okay, so if I actually wanted to ungroup them, all I have to do is I have to select them all again, and I'm going to click ungroup. Okay, so then you see that there's that separation there. These are now two separate boxes. Okay, but I would actually really like for those to be grouped together because I would like this to end up being a full-on rectangle. Okay, so now I can see from the top side, the front side, and the right side that this is a full rectangle. Okay, all right, so now I want to talk a little bit more about these Tinkercad drop-down arrows, these basic shapes. Okay, so what you can see here, all of your options that you can have, and you can put into your work plane. So let's just say that I would like to add this round roof here. Okay, I would just click on this and I drag it, and I'm going to put it just right next to these rectangles that I created here. Okay, so all I did is I clicked on it, I dragged it, and I put it here on my work plane, and now I can see that it's already here in my work plane for me. Okay, if I'd like to select all of them and I'd like to group them, okay, you can then see that this has also changed its color. So that kind of helps indicate, all right, this is one whole thing. All of this is going to print together for me. Okay, so let's ungroup those real quick. Okay, we'll ungroup those here. There we go. And I would actually like these two to be grouped back together, so I selected all of them and I clicked group. Okay, so now you can see that these are still grouped, but this little round roof right here, when I left click on here and I ungroup here, okay, and I want this guy, let's just say that I want to delete him. Okay, I'll get him out of here and I'll make sure that I've got these guys grouped and we are all good to go. Okay, so you can see then you've got a whole bunch of different options. You can do everything from a star to a dice, okay, and you can also, if you come back up here to where it says Tinkercad Basic Shapes, click on this drop-down arrow and you're going to find a whole bunch of different options. So we've got our basic shapes that we were just in, we've got text and numbers, characters, connectors, a whole bunch of different items that you guys can kind of check out. I'm going to specifically show you guys text and numbers here. Okay, so I've got a text right here. If I'd like to add this text here to my work plane, I just left click and I drag it and I put it here in my work plane. Okay, there we go. I've got my text. Okay, let's just say that I want to make, I want to change this text to maybe 3D printer. Okay, or I want to change this to makerspace. Okay, you can see all I have to do is utilize this little property here that pops up for all of your different shapes, and I just changed my text right here. Okay, I've got a couple other things like the height, the bevel, the segments. Those things we'll talk about in future videos. At this point in time, all I want you to know is how to drag and drop and actually place something here on your workspace, okay, or your work plate. So if I left click here, I'd like to get rid of this. I'm going to click that delete button, and there it goes. Okay. Some of you guys might want to add in maybe some numbers. So all you have to do here is you just keep scrolling down past the alphabet, and then you're starting to see all of your numbers here pop up. Okay, that's where you can find all of your numbers, even your ampersand or your and sign, exclamation mark, and your question mark as well. Alright, so that is it for our first tutorial here on Tinkercad. I hope you learned a little bit about the interface and kind of understanding how you at least can select items, deselect items, group items. You understand what the left and the right click mouse button do. Okay, so now you have a good overall understanding of what this Tinkercad website is going to be able to do for you. In our future videos, we'll be talking about how to do text, how to create holes, and how to create an entire actual 3D printed item. All right, I hope to see you soon.